Welcome to the second half of the afternoon session of the first day of Capstones. We are going to stay in Halton Hills. And our next presenter is Mindy, who is going to speak about size health trade-offs and permanent park trees. Evidence from Halton Hills, Ontario. Her internal supervisor is Danijela, and external is, once again, in the absence of Catherine Edwards, who is not feeling well. We have Eric Johnson, who is joining us remotely from the town of Halton Hills. Over to you, Mindy.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Shichun, and today I'm gonna talk about my capstone project about size health trade-off in urban park trees, and the evidence is from my summer internship in Halton Hills, and my internal supervisor is Danijela, and the external supervisor is Catherine. Okay, this is the outline of my presentation. And first, I just want to briefly introduce about why urban park matter in cities. As we know, the public green space is a key component of urban landscape, and it provides people opportunity for recreation, leisure, and social interaction, and also help people connect to nature. An urban park, as an important part of green space, it offers a larger, more continuous green space compared to the street trees and small gardens. And for this study, I mainly focused on the planted park because this kind of park are designed and planted by human. So the condition and the structural development can directly reflect the human drive planning decisions. So it's a policy relevant and a manageable unit for assessing the size health dynamics. And then I want to highlight about the large trees, the importance of large trees. The tree structure, especially DBH crown west age, strongly determines the ecological service output. And as many previous studies shows, the small number of large trees provide the majority of total ecosystem benefits in urban park. That's because large trees can store more carbon, provide more shading, cooling, remove more air pollution, and interrupt more rainfall. So the large trees act as a main being in urban forest. And the first objective of my project is to quantify the structural characteristic of planted urban park trees, including DBH distribution, species composition, and condition states. And then assess the overall species diversity and the dominance to understand the ecological balance in planted urban park, and then test the relationship between the tree size and the health using regression and visualization method. Okay, for the methodology part, my study area is Halton Hills, located in the northwest Halton region, Ontario. It's a mixed urban-rural landscape and surrounded by agriculture and the nature area. The public park in Halton Hills form the core of town's green infrastructure, offering accessible green space and reflect the diverse development histories. And the tree inventory data are collected during my summer internship with the town of Halton Hills, and for each individual trees, we record the species, the DBH, the location of the trees, and also the condition index. And the condition is from 1 to 5, as Ford mentioned before. 1 is the best and 5 is the worst. And the data are directly collected in MapLinks, which is a mobile platform, GIS platform used by Tom. And the data were imported into GIS and exported into Excel and do the analysis with RStudio. And in terms of analysis, I calculate the diversity index to see the species composition and the DBH distribution, and also run the linear regression to see the relationship between the DBH and the tree condition, and do the ANOVA and the Wilcoxon test to compare the inner park and the new and older parks. And totally 3,362 park trees in 72 species are recorded. And from the pie chart, we can see the top 10 species are occupying more than 50% of the total population. And this is the top 10 species. So we can see the maple species like sugar maple, silver maple, Freeman maple, red maple, and Norway maple appear most frequently. It forms a large portion of the canopy, and it also reflects the long-term preference of maple planting in Halton Hills. And there are also some conifer species like white pine, white spruce, and blue spruce. These conifer species provide a year-round canopy function and also complement with the deciduous to help to stabilize the overall structure of the urban forest. And the overall Shandong index is 3.45, which is considered quite high. That means the system has both large number of species and a fairly even distribution among these species. And the Sampson index is 0.955, which also indicates a very high evenness. In other words, no single species is overwhelmingly dominant across the entire park system. And from this chart, we can see this Shandong index, diversity index by parks. And we can see the diversity is not very evenly distributed among the individual parks. Some parks like Park 47, Park 27 are extremely diverse, whilst others may be only dominated by just a few species. And this slide shows how tree health change across different size classes. And it highlights a very clear size health pattern in the Halton Hills Park. And we can see the small trees deviate from 0 to 20 centimeter are most in health and good and excellent condition. And the middle trees from 20 to 40 centimeters, the tree in condition 2 and condition 3 are increased. And for the larger and very large trees, there are more proportion of the tree shows in condition 3 to 5. And the linear regression analysis between the tree DBH and the condition index shows a weak but statistically significant positive relationship. These results indicate that as the DBH increase, trees tend to have slightly worse condition scores. It suggests a mild size health trade-off within the park tree population. And after analysis of the tree in individual tree level, I also did the comparison across the park. From the ANOVA test, we can see the DBH differs significantly among the parks. And this box plot is about the DBH distribution by park within the, it's a 12 park with most trees. And from this chart, we can see the older park has wider DBH range, and the newer park has a small DBH range with young cohort. And these are two images, two tree inventory overviews from a new park and an older park. And we can see the older park has more big trees, and the young park dominated by young trees, although they both have many trees. And using the condition index, the ANOVA found the significant difference in mean tree health among parks. From the chart, we can also see as the mean DBH increase, the mean condition worsens. And finally, I did a case study about sugar maple to do the comparison of older and newer parks. And I chose two newer park and two older park. And this is the tree inventory overview of these 4 parks. And I chose sugar maple as case study because it's very common and abundant species in Halton Hills, so it's suitable for comparison across park without sample size limitations. And from the Wilcoxon test, we can see the sugar maple in older park are significantly larger, and the sugar maple in older park shows slightly poor health on average. So we can see the overall species diversity is in Halton Hill is high because the three major indicators support it. The Shannon index is 3.48, which is above the commonly recognized threshold of high diversity. And the Sampson index of 0.955 shows the highly even community with no dominant species. And the species richness of 62 is usually high for a middle-sized urban forest. So together, these three metrics clearly indicate a high diverse tree population. And the age structure skewed towards younger trees because the DBH distribution across the 10 most common species showed the most individual trees fall within the 10 to 20 centimeter range. And the large trees above 40 centimeter represent only a small proportion of the population. So this data confirm that the overall canopy is still in the early development stage. And this study shows a very clear size health trade-off. The large trees deliver most of the ecosystem service, but they are also one most likely to decline and require more frequent maintenance. The regulation and the health distribution results show that the health decreases as the DBH increase. And this pattern is strong at the both tree level and at the park level. The sugar maple case study is reinforce this. So after this study, we can see with the confidence that the tree size is strongly predict of the tree vulnerability in Halton Hills. And the findings show that most trees are young, so supporting the early stage growth is crucial. And the large trees provide the majority benefits, but it's in a poor condition, so they require targeted care. And some park shows low diversity, so increase the species diversity should be a priority for this park. And this result indicates guide where management should focus to improve the long-term resilience. And in conclusion, Halton Hills Park system is diverse and healthy overall. The aging trees began to pose increasing structural and healthy risk. And so an effective management strategy need to be strike a balance between maintain the large trees and growth the young cohorts. Altogether, these funds support a more adaptive life cycle-based approach to urban forest planning, one that responds to current conditions while also preparing for the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mindy. Do we have Eric Johnson?
Yeah. Hi, Mindy. Thanks for working for us during the summer, this past summer, and helping out with all the inventory. I really liked your presentation. It was really in depth. Just a question regarding like the diversity distribution in older parks. Do you have any theories or conclusions maybe why older parks had a higher maple population? Things like maybe where the park was planned, if it's close to roadways like salt tolerance, maybe they past town officials who got those trees planted had to think about that for species like characteristics, or do you think maybe like it was in terms of like obtaining certain species past urban forestry knowledge maybe there wasn't much expertise and just maple was a standard tree that was planted a lot. Do you have any like thoughts about why those older parks were kind of a monoculture?
Oh yeah, I guess maybe first is because maple species are easy to grow and establish, and it can also can provide like many canopies because many people go to park because they like tree canopies, and the maple species also can provide many aesthetic values. So I think that's why like the towns prefer to plant maple in the park.
Awesome. Thank you. That was a great insight.
Okay, thanks very much. Danijela?
Maybe could you go to that slide where you have the use distribution by species? Yeah, I'm wondering about black walnut. That's quite interesting. It seems that there are some young ones in that recent planting. Black walnut. Yeah. Because you don't see people often, in particular in municipal setting, planting black walnut. I wonder why it's there, do they plant it, or is that something that was inherited?
Well, when we do the inventory in some new parks, we find some new planted black walnut, but maybe just planted in like within 5 or 3 years, like very new planted.
New one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's interesting. The other one that I wanted to see here was Puric-Mladenovic or red maple. You guys didn't separate Freeman and the red, right?
Yeah.
Do you have Freeman?
Yeah, Freeman and
Yeah,
red.
Freeman and red. So what do you think, what's going on with Freeman maple there?
Oh, I think maybe because the Puric-Mladenovic maple is very fast grows and it can provide like a canopy and provide some ecosystem service very quickly because it fast grows.
I just want to remind you to talk to the mic, not so
Oh,
much for me, also for Eric, for example, who asked to hear you through the mic.
Okay.
Yes, so also for the young people maple.
Sorry.
I think that's our next green ash, because we were out, green ash, Freeman maple is the next one that has been overplanted.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm really curious about that, black walnut. Because typically municipalities avoid that because of the
The
nuts.
fruit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Eric, if you're listening, like, do you have any thoughts about black walnut in Halton Hills?
Yeah, I'm relatively new at the town. However, a lot of the more natural areas within the parks have a lot of black walnut. Um, in terms of planting, there isn't because the town is so young in terms of being a municipality and getting into forestry and urban forestry. There's not like a standard species list. So that's kind of what Catherine and I are working on. It's also in terms of like the expertise wise, we have more landscape architects and other like public works employees that kind of determine the species until this basically I got hired and Catherine was hired as well. So we're kind of just trying to grow the canopy now and get some good diversity. Trying to stay away from a lot of maple species for sure. And then you can see like with other things like black walnut, you know. But I would suspect that's probably because of like the more natural areas. They just come up quite a bit.
And that's a very good point, Derek. That's where I was heading with my question, because it seems that you guys capture some species from native forest that was in either part of the park. So my question about that, how sharp is separation when you did the inventory, where is natural area and how did you decide that this is natural area and this is planted park tree? How hard it was to do that?
Yeah, it's kind of hard because some like nature area and national park are connected, and For the connected, we mainly measure the individual trees. Like if the tree is too densely and we can't access, so we don't measure this. But if it's looks like nature area, but if the tree looks individual and we can easy to access to this tree, and we will also measure this.
Yeah, that's why it is.
Yeah.
Right, and just for Eric's, comment about the landscape architects, given, forestry's placement within the Daniels, who are very pro landscape architect. More questions for me.
Yeah, so first of all, Danijela, I just want to clarify that it depends on how big the area is. If it's big enough for CBC to do it, then we don't do it. But if CBC is not going to do it, then we do it and it's considered part of the park.
Yeah, I understand what you guys did, but it's very unusual. It's not unusual, but sometimes it's very hard to separate what's flat and what's coming from natural areas. And that what your species population show.
Yeah.
Okay, also I noticed you focus only on parks.
Yeah.
So like, do you think that like your results would be different if you included other things we inventory, like the facilities or like cemeteries, or do you think your results would be different?
Oh yeah, I think maybe the result is the same because as the tree grows older, it have more competition with the near trees, and it also has more pressure like the soil compaction. So maybe I think the result will the same.
And also, did you factor that like some of the parks are very different, like you have for Falker as an example, so
Mhm.
that's like a very big sports park
Yeah.
with like 10 soccer fields, as opposed to like a small local neighborhood park with like just a playground. Or
Yeah.
there be any like differences or?
Yeah, I think it will be different because like the big park maybe have more people to visit and it's maybe the soil was more compacted and it's will cost difference between for the result.
We have a comment from online.
This time it's a question. So Ted online is asking, well, first he says, thanks for an excellent presentation. I have two questions. One is about your condition assessment. At what level is a condition terminal for the maple trees? And I'll go into the second part. A degree of veteranization is inevitable with size and age. But can this be managed to prolong a tree's life until alternatives are introduced? Do you catch all that?
Okay.
Yeah.
So can you repeat the first question?
So the first one is, at what level is the condition terminal for the maple trees?
Condition terminal? Oh. For our tree inventory, maybe the terminal of the sugar maple is condition 3 to condition 4, because we don't find the trees in sugar maple is dead or immediate dead.
And do you want me to repeat the second one?
Yeah.
Okay, so a degree of veteranization, I'm probably not saying that correctly, is inevitable with size and age, but can this be managed to prolong a tree's life until alternatives are introduced?
Yeah, I think some practice like yearly tree assessment and some pruning and soil care can help to expand the tree lifespan. Yeah, and to help it connected with next generation.
Thank you.